Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we'll be talking about the 2025 international games schedule for the NFL. This on another episode of... So the 2025 NFL international schedule was announced, and there's some pretty good games in there. On September 5th, in Brazil, the Chiefs will play the Chargers. On September 28th, the Vikings and Steelers will play in Dublin. On October 5th, the Vikings will then go and play the Browns in London. And then October 12th, the Broncos and Jets will play in London. And finishing off the London series will be the Rams and Jaguars on October 19th. November 9th, the Falcons and Colts play in Germany. And on November 16th, the Commanders and Dolphins play in Spain, which that's a pretty good schedule. What we're going to do here is I'll be ranking what I think are the best international game matchups in the upcoming season. At number 7, in Week 10, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Indianapolis Colts. And the reason I think this is the worst of the international games in the schedule is, well, the Colts have that issue at quarterback where they don't know if Anthony Richardson is their guy, and they brought in Daniel Jones. So they don't necessarily know who their starting quarterback is, and in the past 2 years have had a multitude of quarterback issues even when Richardson was on the field. So I'm not sure this will be the most entertaining game. I think the Falcons provided a nice opponent for the Colts, where the Falcons could potentially lose to the Colts if the Colts actually figure out who their quarterback is and get some consistent quarterback play out of either Jones or Richardson. But I think the Falcons, if the Colts don't figure out their quarterback issues, will make this game a one-sided affair. At rank 6, in Week 5, the Vikings will be taking on the Cleveland Browns. And much like the Falcons and Colts, this game has the issue of one of the two teams not necessarily knowing who their quarterback is and having potential questions at quarterback. The Browns obviously have 5 quarterbacks in their room right now: Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Joe Flacco. So there's a lot of questions there that need to be figured out at some point. And with this game only happening in Week 5 of the new season, they still might be figuring out who their quarterback of the future is. They could potentially start either Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco to start the year, and then if they don't perform, slowly switch over to either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders. And that's an issue because you don't know when that switch is going to happen. Will Kenny or Joe Flacco be playing so good that they don't switch to late in the season? Or will they be playing so badly early on that the switch happens pretty quick? At rank 5, we have the game that directly happens before the Week 5 game in the Vikings and Steelers. And this game is actually a really fun matchup, and I would love to go over there and watch it myself. But the only reason it's down here is I think this is the point where you start switching over from games that are conditionally maybe good to games that are actually pretty fun and exciting. At rank 4, we have the Week 6 matchup of the Broncos and Jets, once again back in London. Now, the Broncos and the Jets. The Broncos obviously looked really good in 2024. They made the playoffs. They got beat by the Bills in the first round of the playoffs, but they improved a lot. And the Jets did the opposite. They didn't make the playoffs. They finally got rid of Aaron Rodgers. They brought in Justin Fields. So it's really a competition between a team that was good in 2024 and has aspirations to continue that success versus a team that is just trying to get success in the Jets. And I think it'll be a fun game. Ranked at number 3, finishing off the London series, we have, in Week 7, the Rams versus the Jaguars. Now, the Rams Very exciting team this year. They brought in Devontae Adams to pair with Puka Nacua. Matthew Stafford's back again, and they look very good heading into this season. The Jaguars, they've lost a lot of pieces, but at the same time, they brought in probably the best draft prospect in the 2025 draft in Travis Hunter. So seeing them match up will be interesting. The Jaguars always seem to play really well in London, so I wouldn't put it past the Jaguars to win this game. At rank 2, we have the Week 1 matchup of the Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers. Now, the Chiefs and Chargers, this honestly I think could also be ranked at number 1, but there's just a few things I like about the game I have at number 1 more than the Chiefs and Chargers. And part of it's because this is a division matchup. The Chargers also are still trying to figure out how to beat the Chiefs. I think their rivalry hasn't been that competitive in recent memory. The Chiefs have been dominant of the AFC West for a while. So while on paper this would look like a pretty good to great matchup, I just don't feel as excited for it because the Chargers, until they actually get over the hump of being able to consistently beat Patrick Mahomes, it just doesn't feel like it's going to be that exciting of a game. And ranked at number 1 in Week 11, the game I'm most excited for from the international schedule is the Commanders versus the Dolphins. The Washington Commanders are a very exciting team with Jaden Daniels. Now they brought in Deebo Samuel. They brought in Larry Tunsil. It's just a very exciting team heading into the 2025. And you put them up against another team like the Dolphins, who have a lot of really good offensive playmakers. This has the potential to turn into a shootout. And nothing is better in an international game than having a shootout. And I like that. I think that's the most exciting international game, and I can't wait to see it happen. With that being said, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment what you think, and I'll see you next time.